Hello, I'm Amy Mushall with Your Instrumental Body. At Your Instrumental Body, we help people discover the joy of movement and expression by unlocking efficiency and vitality, not just in singing, but in everyday life. Through the Alexander technique, we empower you to release unnecessary tension, cultivate a mindful awareness, and find balance in how you move, breathe, and create. Today, welcome to day 9 of the 12 days of Christmas Alexander Technique exploration. If you've been joining me for the last 8 days, I hope that you have found something useful every day to explore. I hope that if you are enjoying these, that you will like this video, that you will like all the other videos, and that you will subscribe to my channel and subscribe to my email list. For today, on day 9, we are going to explore how we can bring awareness through the Alexander technique into festive holiday activities. Whether you're baking cookies today, hanging ornaments, or wrapping gifts, there are tasks that are opportunities to practice ease and awareness in motion. By pausing and checking in with your body, you can transform even the busiest moments or the most mundane tasks into mindful moments. So, as you are exploring, I'd like to invite you to find something that you can explore today, either with me here. You can pause this video, or you can feel free to watch this video and then bring it to whatever activities that you have planned for today. So for me, I am bringing the task of writing. This is a time that I'm looking forward to writing some holiday cards, and in addition to that, I'm going to be doing some folding for putting together the letters. You might even take something as simple as reaching for a mug of your favorite warm beverage. I'd just like to show you that today it is snowing outside while I am recording this. So welcome to Christmas here in Colorado. And as I go to take a drink, that is something that we can explore as well. So as I consider going to the mug, I'm going to pause and just notice how I want to move to go get the mug. And in fact, I'm just going to move just kind of in a habitual way, and I'm just going to see what comes up. It's a good cup of coffee. Now, as I paused, as I noticed how my weight shifted as I leaned towards the mug to take a drink, to go pick it up. That was probably the biggest thing that came to mind. Also noticing, because I'm seated at kind of an angle in today's creation of this video, I'm noticing that I have to do a little bit of spinal rotation in order to go pick up the mug. Otherwise, that mug would be kind of behind me, and it would be really awkward to pick that up. In fact, I can really feel a lot of tension in my arm if I don't turn in order to go grab the mug. So you can see that we have choices. I could just kind of stay here, kind of rigid, And then I notice that I have a little bit of a scrunch in my neck and throughout my whole spine. And you might even notice that there's a little bit of a sound in my voice that's changed. And I'm really feeling a lot of tension in my breathing. So that's one option. Needed a nice breath after that. Another option, as I mentioned, is rotating my torso so that I can be a little bit more available to use my arms. This allows me to shift my weight on my sit bones a little bit, but it's not constricting my ribs now. And so now, as I go to take the mug, I notice that I have a little bit of moving up as I bring the mug to me. And by the way, this is a creation from my friend Karen Archbold. Hi, Karen, if you're watching. I call it Karen's Happy Pottery. And now I'm going to rotate my torso again so that I can allow myself to fold a little bit and come back. So you can see this process is a lot of pausing, a lot of looking at choices that are available, and a lot of experimenting with some of those different choices. And then while experimenting, observing how my body is either more easy or feeling a little bit more restricted or tense. Breathing is a wonderful way of identifying if something is easy or hard. If you do something and it causes you to struggle to breathe, that's often an indication that you might be efforting a little bit more than might be necessary. And so then it's a matter of looking for other options that might be available to see if there's a different way. So the next thing that I mentioned was writing. So as you are writing your letters this year, or writing your lists, whatever it is that you're writing, first and foremost, I'm noticing again, because I'm at this angle, that I'm going to have to do this twisting thing. And that's going to get really tiring really quickly. So instead, I'm going to adjust my chair and adjust my seat, noticing now my configuration and alignment in relation to the paper and to the desk, so that I have a little bit more of what Alexander called mechanical advantage. It's a little bit more easy for me to use myself in this way than having to twist. By doing this, I can notice first that I am seated on my sit bones, allowing the weight to rest down through my sit bones, allowing myself not to be pulled up, but also not slumping down. Just finding that length in rest. And if you're curious to learn a little bit more about that, you can look back a few sessions. I think it was probably day 6 that we explored. Maybe it was even day 5, but we explored this earlier in the days of Christmas. So I'm going to pause again, bringing my awareness to my whole self, noticing my breath, noticing the paper, noticing my hand on the pen. And as I bring my hand up, I'm going to notice how my elbow gets to soften down, and then how it can unfold to bring my hand to rest on the table. And I'm going to notice that I can simply rotate this lower arm, allowing the radius to rotate so that my hand can get into a writing position. And now I've got a couple of choices that are coming to mind. I notice that what I really want to do is kind of hunch down to kind of get close to the paper. But I also know that hunching down kind of causes a little compression in my spine. And so I'm going to find my length again and find my sit bones. And instead of hunching to come closer to the paper, I'm going to find my hip joints, which we did just the other day. And what I'm going to do, and I'll show you, is I'm going to find those hip joints and I'm just going to rock my torso back and forth a couple of times, bringing my torso closer to my upper legs and then coming away. Notice I'm not slumping, but rather I'm simply rolling my pelvis over my leg bones so that I come closer to the table and to my paper. And so now I'm going to simply hinge at my hip joints. This allows my back to remain, my whole torso to remain in alignment so that my head is coming up and over the paper. And if we come back, my head still stays up and away from my tail. And I'd invite you to try that on a few times. So rotating the pelvis, the head moving forward and up to come over the table. And now I can move my paper into a configuration where I can then easily write. And then when I am done, I will simply allow that same rotation to happen at the hip joints, allowing my whole torso to come away from my legs. I wonder what that's like for you. Now, this is something that you could do whether you were reaching into a cupboard while you were baking, or reaching to put a tray of cookies into the oven. Hinging at the hip joints allows us to move in a very unique way where we still have a sense of length and alignment in our whole torso, as opposed to kind of slumping down or this pulling up. And can we pull up? Absolutely. Especially sometimes we need to pull up. And then the question is, do we do that from the top of our head to the tip of our spine? Moving like so. These are all choices. And when we pause and we contemplate what choices are available, and when we first notice how we're using ourselves initially, and we play with other options, we then are empowered to make choices, to find more ease and more efficiency. So whatever you're doing today, I invite you to notice what choices are available to you in how you move. Do they allow you to have that mechanical advantage? Or do they tend to make it so that you have to do extra things in order to do the thing that you want to do? How efficient can the choices be that you make? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you've got some curiosity and some cool takeaways to explore your holiday to-do list with a little bit more ease and a little bit more choice. And I hope that you can find moments to pause and notice throughout today and every day. I'm Amy Mushall with Your Instrumental Body. If you've found this video helpful or useful in some way, if you've enjoyed the exploration, please give me a like. Helps with getting the reach to other people. And feel free to share this link with other people who might need just a little bit more ease and efficiency in their lives. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll be back tomorrow for day 10 of our 12 Days of Christmas Alexander Technique explorations. Have a great day.